Okay, so today I'm going to show a tutorial on how to restore and colorize photos, old ones in particular, that are either in black and white or sepia like this one here. To start out, we needed to restore different tears or rips or bends, anything that you see that's in the picture that you want to take out. I mainly use the patch tool, but there's also the healing brush and then the spot healing brush tool as well. But like I said, the patch tool is the main one that I use. To start out with the patch tool, you can select an area and then drag it to an area where there is no tear or rip, and then that you want to take the content from, and then you just select it, and then you can deselect the selection here, and then you have your end result. You can do that with the other ones as well. Drag that there. And then there's other ones, other bins there's instances where you might want to, you can't select a whole bend or tear like this one here, and then just drag it because it'll mess it up. You'll have to go back and just select the certain area of the rip or tear and then drag that to an area where that particular part of the rip coincides with the other part of the picture, and then the same here with this hat. You'll have to drag it to the hat, and then that's how you get a tear that goes across multiple parts that aren't the same. Once you get all your rips and tears out, either using the patch tool or the healing brush tool, which you can use the spot healing brush tool. If you just paint over it, removes it, and then the healing brush, you have to select a certain location, and then it takes from that certain location and you can paint. Once you end up with your different tears and rips that you've taken out, you can end up with something like this. Here I made it black and white as well because I thought that would be easier to work with when colorizing a photo. But to start out with the actual colorization process, you can first you have to change the color mode from RGB to CMYK, which is cyan, yellow, and magenta instead of red, green, and blue. But to start out here, you can well, there's different ways to colorize it. First of all, you can either paint over an area that you want to color, or like I do it, you can select an area as well and use curves to color it in. So here I'm going to start out with the quick selection tool, and you just select an area that you want to color. Like I'm going to try and color these overalls, and you just select an area here. Okay, so now once you have a pretty good selection of the part that you want to select, you will want to go to image and then layer, and then new adjustment layer, and then curves, and then you can name it like overalls. And then what you want to do after this is you can go in here, you can go to cyan, magenta, yellow, or black, and change these curves in here to change where they look the best to you. It's one of the most difficult parts, is trying to match up the color that you want. Especially once you get more colors in there, you'll have to match up the different colors to make them look the best and match up. But once you have a pretty good mindset of what you want, then you can just exit out, and then you can start with your next selection. So say if I wanted to do the gloves here, I could do that as well. Okay, I have these gloves selected. These selections I'm making are pretty rough, but you might want to go in and zoom in to get more accurate selections of the part that you want to color. And you can also change the size of the brush so that you have, if the smaller it is, the more control over the selection that you have. So I have it at 1 so that I can get all the parts that I want to select in there. But once again, you would want to go to layer and then new adjustment layer and then curves again and then gloves and then change these down to fit what you might want. So I'm going to try and achieve a brownish color here. And then try and darken it with black. Or you can go to the CMYK and change that up as well. But once you achieve the right color, you can just keep on moving on to the next selection, and you'll eventually end up with your next product. Once you can also say if you don't seem to find the right color, you can use the dodge and burn tools to lighten up the shadows or darken the shadows or darken any part of your selections as well. I use that a lot when making my colorization photo. And you can also see these faded parts. I also used different brushes that I downloaded for grass and other things to try and kind of fill this in since it seemed to fade. And then you can mess around with the dodge and burn tool with that as well when coloring that in. If your picture does seem to be faded and it needs to be either sharpened or something like that, you can add in things that you might think are there so that it might make the picture look a little bit better. But once you're done, you might end up with something like this. This is what I ended up with after I finished colorizing it. I did the brush right here, and then I added different color mixtures to try and vary the coloration of the grass, and then the road, and then the field back here. So I used different tutorials for this. I used one. I'll put them in the description so that you can look at them, the links. But I used those, one separately for restoration and the other one for the colorization process. They're separate, but they really help me out, and I think that those will help you with the results that you're looking for, the best ones. But otherwise, after you get the hang of colorization and restoring, you don't really have to look at the tutorials. You can just kind of keep on going and just colorize different things and just keep on moving until you get your final product. But I think that's it for now. Thanks for watching.